Feel like growing up, we all have these dreams, or at least I know that I had these dreams of achieving something. I feel like I've spent the majority of my life really focused on achieving something, whether that might be making a name for myself or getting to a certain level on YouTube or within a job or earning a certain amount of money. I feel like I've always been striving to do something, make a name for myself. I feel like legacy and being remembered is a topic and subject that a lot of people talk about, and it comes up all the time. You know, how do you want to be remembered? What do you want to be remembered for? And our lives nowadays are just filled with looking on social media about people succeeding at the age of 17 or doing stuff at the age of 22, or these multi-billionaires, or just all these people all across the world who are doing all these incredible things. And sometimes it's hard to feel like you're accomplishing anything if you're not achieving something. And by that I mean if you're not, publishing a book, if you're not making an album of music. Sometimes it feels like, what is your worth if you've not got something to be remembered by? And I've felt like this, and I still do sometimes feel like this, but I've felt like it more when I was younger. And I feel like as I've grown up and I've gotten older, I'm starting to just sort of appreciate the mundane and the simple life and the unextraordinary. I think for years one of my favourite artists has been Bon Iver. And on his second album, I think it's Holocene, one of the lines is about being unextraordinary. And it's just really resonated with me. And the other day, my girlfriend was watching About Time. And that's about, just appreciating the life that you have and these little moments, laughing with your friends, laughing with your family. Just being content and calm and enjoying the mundane. And I feel like as I've gotten older, I've really started to feel this more and more. And I'm not old by any stretch of the imagination. I'm only 24, but I feel like I'm coming to terms with this sort of way of thinking. At the weekend, I had one of the best days for me personally, and I was so happy. And all it consisted of was a slow morning followed by a walk with my girlfriend and having a coffee and some nice food, and then watching a nice film and falling asleep in the warmth of my own home, and then having a Sunday dinner. And while all of those things seem mundane and a lot of people would be like, but I want to travel and go to all these countries, or that's so boring, that's so boring just sitting around and reading and watching a film. But I think the minute that you start to appreciate those moments and just find joy in the mundane, your life will probably turn for the better. I think I've always been of this mind of, how can people just work regular jobs? How can people just go about their whole life just working the same job that's you're not achieving anything, you're not doing anything, you're not getting your name out there. And as I've gotten older, I've realised how so wrong that notion is. If you've got a job that you enjoy, or even not necessarily that you enjoy, but maybe there's people that you work with that you love to hang out, or there's perks of the job, or whatever it might be, and then you fill the surrounding space around your job with just joy and things that you enjoy doing, whether it might be the pleasure of just sitting and playing a video game for a few hours and just feeling happy and content. It's like this whole notion about, I feel like I've seen it more and more over the last few years, where it's like, oh, if you're over the age of 19 and you're playing video games in your spare time, you're a loser, you're wasting your time, unless you're streaming and creating content out of it. And those people have just got it completely wrong. that it's such a sad way to look at it. If anything, the people who are just chilling on video games and enjoying their spare time in a way that they feel like it brings them joy, they're the real winners, because how content are they? That they're just happy to do nothing, to achieve nothing, other than the fact that they want to do it and that they are getting just pure joy out of it. I feel like I always have been focused on, I need to make something of myself with YouTube, or I need to write a book or make a film, or whatever that might be, that end goal might be. But I feel like I'm starting to slip into a bit of a content mindset where I can also actually look at the last few years, and someone might look at my YouTube channel and think, oh, well, he's not got 1 million subscribers, he doesn't even do it full time, what has he really achieved out of it? But some of the incredible memories and things that have come from YouTube, the friends that I've met, like, there's so many incredible people that I've met and spoken to, and some people who I consider literally my best friends, purely because I've done YouTube and I do YouTube. The fact that it gave me a bit of extra income to be able to renovate my house when we bought it, or give me a little bit of spare money to treat my girlfriend for a birthday, or just all these little things. Even the messages that I get from people, saying how the content's helped them or cheered them up, or that's worth so much more than having it be this full-time incredible thing that I'm going to be remembered for. Who cares, really? Everything is going to disappear and die off at a certain point, regardless of how incredible you leave of a legacy. Eventually, the earth will forget, and eventually the earth will be forgotten. And while I used to sometimes see that as a little bit scary, daunting and depressing, it's actually kind of also beautiful to look at on the flip side of, well, none of it matters, so why not just live and be happy in the moment? Why not just do what I want to do? Why not just, spend 4 hours of my evening drawing a picture that I'm not even going to post anywhere, I'm just doing it because I enjoy it? Why don't I spend it reading a book because I love being taken to this different fantasy world? Why don't I write a book, for that matter? No one might ever see it, but I've got these ideas in my brain. Why don't I cook? Why don't I bake some cakes and be able to taste what I've created afterwards, and share it with my family and friends, and give them a cookie, and see the joy that it brings them of this like delicious little treat that I've made and spent time doing? Why don't I do nothing? Why don't I just have a nap? Why don't I just chill? Why don't I go garden? Why don't I go walk? Why don't I go to the gym? Because I enjoy the feeling that gives me, the good feeling inside of burning a few calories and getting my heart rate up. Why don't I just sit and play some games with my friends? Just do. Just do whatever you want to do. And don't focus on this achievement thing. Even when it comes to gaming, I feel like, growing up, we just played games for fun. And I think that's where the last couple of years of gaming, it's kind of been lost. I feel like a lot of games are all about the achievements. It's all about being the best. Streamers have sort of brought this real fixation on being incredibly good at every game, sweating everything out to get the best guns, to get the best camos, to get to the top level. But in actual fact, I enjoyed when gaming was just about having a laugh with your mates, about just going and zoning out for a little bit and chatting and just having a good laugh and a good time and passing time in a different world. And so I think that needs to be taken a little bit more into our current world, in a world outside in IRL where there's so much pressure and, you need to grind, you need to work yourself dry and to the bone. But it's just not the case. None of it really matters. So just do what makes you genuinely happy, and just appreciate the mundane and appreciate the unextraordinary.